I'd like to give you some feedback on your recent draft of the Project 2. And I just have 5 of them I've separated out. So these are the projects that Gunnar, Wendolyn, Michala, Haley, and Sidney did. So just starting off with Gunnar's project. First of all, nice job, Gunnar. Some really nice alignment. Some good white space here and around all of these elements. Nice alignment here. Some good contrast between your text. So there's a clear hierarchy within your text, and it all is functioning differently. Really well done there. My one question is about your message. If this is an adoption fundraiser concert, I wonder if you're reaching the heartstrings of adoption fundraisers. And maybe you're not going for that angle. This feels very techno. It's a concert that would be interesting if you like electronic music. So you do target your audience here in your text. It's not so much for people who are adopting or who have maybe an emotional tie to adoption. But that's just something to think about. Are you reaching your target audience, people who would donate to an adoption fundraiser? Or do you want to change your event a little bit so that it maybe isn't about adoption? But just think about that. Your message is important, and your target audience is important. Are you reaching them, and does this event ad send the message that you want? I think this is really cool how you did the white keys and the black keys on a keyboard. I'm not sure that it'll be clear to everybody what you mean by this. So that's something to think about as well. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. Just make sure that it's clear. And maybe it would be clearer if this photo went up higher so that the white keys went all the way back, but maybe not. And is it important, I guess? Is this keyboard idea really important for your main message? But again, great contrast, great white space, hierarchy, the flow is good. So I think that's all that I'm going to say about that. Save the Arctic Foxes. Great photo or image, really strong emotional appeal here. You have a nice strong alignment here. One thing that you might consider is, instead of left aligning all of this text, you might consider actually right aligning it in order to bring it in unity with the fox over here on this side. So if these images were aligned instead, like over here, then that would pull this together with that text. So right now this text all has its back turned on the fox. Let's read what it says. Save the Arctic Foxes. I think that because these 4 lines have a relationship to each other, they ought to be closer. Also wonder, you've got a little bit of contrast in the color here. That's great. I wonder if you want more contrast somewhere so that something really pops here. And I would think Arctic Foxes is important, way more important than the word the. So the word the could be minimized. Maybe not take its own line. Maybe save the could be on one line, or the could be nested up here like a superscript, the Arctic Foxes. I would think you'd really want this to pop out. I like that this text is small because it contrasts so well. I wonder about within this text giving me some contrast. So the part of the text that you think is the most important, let it be bold, or let it be big, or something. When you trim this, you might lose some of this space. If that happens, this text might be too close to the edge. Right now it's okay, but I wouldn't mind having more frame, more white space on this side. You've got plenty of good white space all around everything else, but on this one side, I'm worried when you trim it if that will go away, since it doesn't print all the way to the edge. Also, I wonder about moving this fox off. So maybe even making him larger, but moving him so that he's coming in from the side, maybe from the bottom as well. Look at that and see if that works. That way he wouldn't feel like he's boxed into this page, but that he's free on one side. This angle of his eyes is really interesting, of his face. I wonder if it would be odd to turn some words, maybe the words Arctic foxes, turn it sideways to mimic that. Also wonder what would happen if you made his eyes green. I wonder if Word has a way to do that with green circles so that you can repeat that. It would be a little unnatural, but just curious about that. You'd have to, blend them somehow. Anyway, great poster, great event ad. Let me see it. Save the Arctic foxes. So we have the date, time, place. So date, time, and place can be grouped a little bit more. They don't have the same relationship. In fact, the date and the time, I would think, would be more closely related than all of this information, which is place information. So these three lines should have less space between them. This item should be moved so that it's closer to the date. And then kind of like you've grouped these three lines, they go together. You need some grouping up here as well. Okay, here we go. Be their voice. Nice strong alignment here. I wonder about bumping the word voice over just a little bit, because this part of the V isn't as visually heavy as this straight line of the B. So if you just bump that over a little bit, even though it might look like it's hanging out, it will, when you back out from it, it will seem like it's more aligned here. So we've got some nice contrast in this title, some nice repetition in that color. You might try and make this color even more like that color. I can see that it's there, but just curious if we could get some more of that green and light blue in there. I don't know. Not that important. This looks really good. Is there a stroke on the word voice, or is that just the way that font looks? Just curious. Also wonder if the word voice could be a little bit bigger so that it aligns closer with this side as well of the R. So we've got the place and the date and the time. Again, I wonder about those two being grouped and these two being grouped. Make sure that this isn't just a hyphen. It should be an N dash. You type that on a Mac with a option hyphen. 40% of all earnings will go towards Prevent Child Abuse America. Great. So earnings, be their voice. What's happening here? Is there a concert? Is this the name of a group? Will I need to pay admission when I come? Or is it just I'm going to eat at the Berg and then 40% of the earnings will go to this? What is Be Their Voice? Is that just the name of the event? So and who's sponsoring this event? I know that Prevent Child Abuse America is the recipient of the proceeds, but I don't know who the sponsor is. So clarify that. Generally though, I love how compelling this image is and how you've used white space so nicely, and you've really presented your message in a clean, clear, straightforward way. Strong alignments, etc. Okay, next one is a bake sale. I like how the color here is used to pull out the food things, and then this wood grain background is kind of faded back. I think your text is very clear. You've got a straight hierarchy. I think this is the strong place. So because of that, I think that this alignment needs to actually move over. Move make over to about there, and move this stuff over. So right now, because right now you've got this kind of a shape, and what we want is a straight line that connects bake with make with every, from, in, etc. Okay, so every Friday starting May 27th, from this time to this time, all proceeds will go towards the homeless. Who's going to give the proceeds to the homeless? Can I trust that if I spend my money, towards the homeless, gift to the world program? Who's sponsoring this bake sale? I guess that's what I need to know. Bake sale, I think that Make Life Sweet should be closer to bake sale so that these become a unit. I like how you've grouped this and how you've grouped that. It would be nice to have a little contrast. I probably say the same things over and over again, sorry about that, but make something pop out within this text. Not that it needs to be that big, but maybe you could bold it or italicize or something so that it's clear that not all this text is has the same thing, the same weight. Okay, and one more. Pedal for profit. I love the white space on this one. Like your typography, I feel like these can be closer, all three of these lines can be closer together. This little plus sign throws me off a little bit. I'm not sure what that's there for. I like your typography generally though. I like that this is right aligned and this is left aligned because that pulls these together. That's excellent. I wish that this wasn't aligned with the edge, but instead that it was aligned, this direction so that it brought it into the bike. I think that this color could be used effectively with repetition. So something on your piece, maybe pedal for profit, or maybe just pedal. Something could use this green color to repeat and to make this feel like it's a cohesive unit. Let me read this. We believe bikes have the power to change lives. The simple truth drives us to be and to do better. The passion we have for sharing our love of bikes with the world can be seen in all we do. That is why we are doing a 25-mile charity bike race where all proceeds will go to Make-A-Wish Foundation. I think you need hyphens in Make-A-Wish. Okay, so who is doing this? It's probably Speed or... Anyway, make it clear who is sponsoring this event. I can see from reading this text that the proceeds go to Make-A-Wish Foundation. Maybe do some bolding or something to make this stand out. Overall, this is a lot of text to read. I like the copy. It's well written. But do something so that it's easier to skim through it and find important information. I wouldn't mind if we had some alignment, either top or bottom. Wouldn't mind if there was a little bit of contrast within here either. There's the date and time, place. Yeah, great. Nice job. Be sure this text isn't too close to the edge when you trim. Same thing over here. This might be a little too close to the edge when you trim, and this might be a little too close to the edge after you trim. Okay, hope that's helpful. Best wishes, and I'll see you guys all on Tuesday.